10% of all the new cars sold in Iowa come from the Karl Auto Group. Our neighbors trust us to have the largest selection and the highest standards. To our current customers, thank you. And to our future customers, see for yourself why Karl drives Iowa.
Your dealer for life, it's the Karl way.
They say the grass is greener where you water it. For me, that means being loyal, putting in the work, and being part of a community that raised me. Fairway, your home court advantage.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cyclone Fanatic postgame show. I'm your host Leah Nelson, alongside Chelsea Poppens. As always, thank you for joining us in the Northwest Bank studios. Iowa State takes on Kansas State 76-72. They're back in the win column, and we're really excited to talk about it. But before we do, as always, let's thank our sponsors. Karl Auto Group, the presenting sponsor, all season long. They are huge fans of Cyclone Fanatic, of the Iowa State Cyclones, so we are huge fans of them. Shout out to Karl Auto Group, and then our friends over at Fairway Meat and Grocery. Make sure you check them out. Get your groceries there this week. I know everyone's got to do some grocery shopping, so shout out to Fairway as well. All right, Chelsea, woohoo! Iowa State back in the win column, which is exciting. A little bit of a different game than the last one we saw against BYU. What were some of the biggest differences that you saw this game, and how was Iowa State able to come out on top?
I mean, another well-rounded effort by everybody. Like we've said before, we'd love to see other players stepping up, like Sydney Harris, Elisa Williams, Ariana Jackson. She wasn't as stellar from the three-point line as she has been in the past, but she hit it when it counts. And just a really solid, honestly, just a really solid like showing from Jada Williams per usual, Audie Crooks. And I always love a win, but I was like, I feel like it could have been a little bit.
Yeah.
It could have been a wider spread than what it was if we played. Our defense was lacking in moments, in key moments.
That was my next question is, I like to start off with positivity, but they were up by like more than 10, and it seemed like they were going to kind of run away with it. And then they let Kansas State get back in, and it seems like that's a common problem that Iowa State has been facing. So like, what does Iowa State need to do to really just finish the games out when they're ahead?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's not playing the game in chunks. It's playing an entire game and pulling it all together for that 40 minutes. The things like when you look at it, you don't like the turnovers, the forced passes into Crooks down low. We're still doing that. We're not doing it as often as we were before, but there's definitely some times where I'm like, that's not open. There's three people down there. Why are we lobbing it in? Why aren't we pump faking and like bounce passing if we are trying to get it in there? But I mean, that's a learning thing. I don't like to see Jada Williams with 9 turnovers. I love to see, I mean, she's in double digits for 22 points and 9 assists and 8 turnovers. I don't like to see that, but it's going to happen naturally with someone who has the ball in her hands, like so much of the time and on the offense. And it would be nice to also see other players like controlling the ball and taking the pressure off of her. Like, yes, she's taking that pressure. She's trying to drive into the lane and make something happen. But a lot of times when she does drive into the lane, like nothing happens sometimes. And it's kind of like, oh, nothing came of that. And then there's like scramble of people trying to get open or trying to find some like plan B, plan C. And so it would be nice to kind of have a little more of a game plan when things like that happen, a little more like solid presence, because moments like those are going to translate into turnovers. And as you can see, like they had 22 points off of turnovers and we had 11. Like that's why they're so close. That's the game right there. And even like the fast break points of like 7, that's steals. That's running the court faster than us and us not getting back on defense. Like those points matter in games like today and like even those high pressure games that we're going to have moving forward.
Do you think the turnovers are, I know it's a little bit of everything, but do you think it's them kind of struggling and trying to force it into a place that it shouldn't be forced into? Or is it just, people losing the ball?
I think they played good defense. I'm not going to take that away. Like, I didn't think Kansas State played really good defense. I'm not going to take that away from them. We do have to like handle the ball because it's not just this game that we're seeing high turnovers and that kind of thing. Like, we've seen it in a lot of games recently. And so that's just handling the ball better, being smarter, not putting ourselves in positions to turn the ball over, not forcing things that aren't there just because that's our mind gets in this robotic state of like, what's the first thing I look for? And I'm going to do it, deer in the headlights type of thing. Like, pause, think, and then adjust and use your basketball IQ. And so I think it's just a learning thing. Happy with a W. And there's always going to be things like that we look at on the stat sheet that we can improve on. There's never going to be like a perfect game out there. I just want to like say that, like, if we're going to like dissect areas of improvement moving forward, like that's an area that I would look at.
I also think, I know when we talked after the BYU game that we noticed, there was a lot of stress when Jada wasn't on the floor. There wasn't a whole lot of leadership. And I do think this game, people looked a little bit more calm, even when Jada wasn't on the floor. And it looked like everyone kind of stepped up. Sydney Harris had a couple great shots. Elisa Williams was doing well down low. So I think that was a little bit of an improvement from last year.
Yeah, I also was impressed with Reese and Hare. Hare's been making the shots on high pressure moments. Like, I love it. I love that she's been able to do that for us. And Reese has been showing some flair too in areas like when she has the ball and she's able to explode and create a shot for her own. I think my struggle is the defense when what's her name? Taryn Sides. It's a wide open layup just because our defense, like, I don't like wide open layups. Contested layups, sure, fine. But when our defense doesn't do what they're supposed to do, like we're helping on the helping the guard so that the guard doesn't like have to put in bad positions to foul or, just like let a wide open layup to the hoop go. Like, our post players and everybody just needs to talk so much more. And it almost looks like they just needed more reps of that in practice. And maybe like the schedule's tight and they don't get as many reps as they should, but that's no excuse at the end of the day. This is what we do. So, yeah.
I also think free throws were way better this game, which is huge too, because it came down to a closer game than we were obviously hoping. But that's huge for Iowa State because they've been struggling with it, and I know the announcers were talking about it too. So another positive outlook. Yeah. But going back to Taryn Sides as well, like she was kind of struggling at the beginning of the game, and then Iowa State kind of let her come back in and control that third quarter and fourth quarter, which is where it's a little bit of a frustrating.
And the last quarter is all mental. Like, everyone's tired, the clock's ticking down, and even if you have a lead, you can't let it go. You still have to finish strong. And I think that's a little piece of what we see sometimes. Sometimes we see our players like looking tired and looking fatigued out there. Sometimes like we have crooks out there looking tired. And I think that like it's just finishing the game strong, all 40 minutes, no matter what, and piecing the whole game together, not just quarter here, quarter there.
Well, I'm pumped. Iowa State plays Arizona State next. What is your kind of outlook there? Arizona State's been a good team, totally different than they were last year. And so, what do you think your game plan would be going against Arizona State next week?
I like the trajectory and where we're going and how we're seeing players show up in different ways. I love how much more well-rounded we are these days. And honestly, just going down there, playing our game, trying to reduce turnovers. That's always a struggle. Those are probably the key things that I think. Turnovers and rebounds, I always focus on those just because those are all effort things, and putting ourselves in good position. So that's what I want to see the most improvement going into the next game.
And I bet we will see it. So make sure you guys tune in on Wednesday after the Arizona State game. Chelsea and I will be here. Shout out to our sponsors, Karl Auto Group and Fairway Meat and Grocery. Shout out to Aiden for producing. Thanks for listening.